So conventional marketing advice tells us to stay visible, show up daily on socials so we can stay top of mind, to create short form content like reels and things and flip through carousels because people have no attention span, and to slide into people's DMs because conversations equal conversions. A quiet marketing approach says become discoverable so the right clients can find you. It says create evergreen content assets that work to bring buyers to you. And it says you don't need to be good at sales because your content does the work of having the right people choose you. Now that's if the content is written in a certain way that shares your perspective. So we've been led to believe that consistent social media presence is the only way to drive sales, but our own behavior tells a different story. So think about your own experience. Something is bothering you and you end up doing a Google search to check it out. You want to learn about a topic and you end up on YouTube. You're in a conversation with ChatGPT or similar and it recommends a person, a resource, or a website. We go looking for answers, not intending to buy, and yet so often we do. So an example of mine is I have this monstera plant that it was going yellow around a number of the leaves, and I kept looking at it, feeling concerned about it, thinking I need to sort that out. I need to get to the bottom of what's going on here. Eventually, one day I just typed into Google, my monstera plant has yellow leaves, something about the plant and the yellow leaves. One of the first search results that came up was a blog that spoke specifically to this issue. I clicked on the blog, I read through it, it was really helpful. And at the end of the blog, there was this mention of a course by the author of the blog called Essentials of Houseplant Enjoyment. And I was just like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And I went and enrolled in that. So this is such a good example of how I had a problem I wanted to solve. I wasn't looking to go and buy anything, and yet I did. And you'll probably find that that's happened to you many times as well. So the author of that blog and of the creator of that course is part of what I call a different or another marketing economy. It's a marketing economy that sits outside, that is different to the social media centric marketing economy that most of us have been taught. So how you enter this economy is you create long living, usually long form content assets that are ungated, which means no email required, that sit outside of social media, that lead the right people to your door at just the right moment. And that's the important piece. Again, going back to my story, it's like I found that blog at the right moment, at the moment that I was ready to take some action on sorting out that problem. So the way you begin creating this ecosystem so you can enter this marketing economy is you start with looking at one of your offers. If you only have one offer, then it's easy. You're just focusing on that. If you have more than one offer, you just start by focusing on one offer. You make sure that the messaging for that offer is very dialed in to your ideal buyer's awareness, how they think about their issue, how the language that they use, that kind of thing. That's where most people go wrong because they're not really using language that really resonates and just really lands with their ideal buyer. And so someone arrives there, the offer could be made for them, but they don't see themselves in that offer. So that's the first thing that needs to happen. And then from that messaging process that you go through, then you can strategically identify the content pieces that will create the foundation for the ecosystem for that particular offer. So this diagram here, you've got all these pieces of content dotted around that people can discover or it can be suggested by AI, and it leads people to that piece of content, to your website and to your offers. So another way to think about this is that it's an actual marketing engine. And this marketing engine brings a steady flow of new eyes to your work and offers, which is quite important because if you're only using social media, then often what's happening is you're getting the same old eyes on your work. And even to get the same old eyes on your work, you need to work. You need to be like on that treadmill of content creation and visibility. So with this marketing engine, people are discovering you through their own intentional searches and through AI suggestion. And the AI suggestions are based on that person's behavior on different platforms, even platforms like YouTube, Kindle, that kind of thing. And so those AIs are presenting suggestions and recommendations based on that. So it's very specific and dialed into that person, to the individual. The next thing that this marketing engine is giving you is a shorter conversion time from discovery to actual purchase. And that's because the way that they find you, you weren't interrupting their newsfeed trying to get attention. They actually were very intentional about what they wanted and ended up finding you. So they arrive different in a different place. And then if your offer speaks to where they're at, it's just an easy yes. And then the next thing that it does is it helps you build an email list of buyers, not just subscribers. So what this marketing engine recommends is that instead of building your list with freebies, you actually have a paid on-ramp offer, which means once this ecosystem gets going and this engine gets going, you've got people coming to your site. Some of them will be ready to buy straight away, whatever your main offer is. Others, they're not so sure yet. They've just met you. But if you have a very accessible on-ramp offer, something that they can have that gives them a genuine taste of your work, everyone ends up entering your list as a buyer. And once they've bought once, research shows they're much more likely to buy again. So what this ecosystem has done for me personally is given me a structure that I can lean back into, it's carried me through low energy seasons or times where I've just had a lot on my plate, maybe too many commitments with family or that kind of thing, illness, time off. It's been really nice to be held in that way rather than thinking, oh my God, I need to keep being visible, during those periods. So it's bringing me clients while my attention is elsewhere. It's allowed my nervous system to exhale and regulate, and it's created a 6-figure business without all of that marketing burnout. Now, where people fall down with this strategy is on the surface, they think, oh, I just need to start blogging and she'll be right. But the thing is, I have had people come to me and go, Danny, I've been blogging for years. I've got, 200 blogs. Well, one person said that once. And she was like, I don't get any business from it. But I see people do this. They think that, I just need to just create some content out there and it'll all happen for me. No, because what happens is the content isn't created in a way that makes it discoverable to people or to AI. There's also where it kind of goes pear-shaped is there's no clear connection path between the actual content that is out there, even if it is discoverable, and what they offer. So I see people just writing stuff about that nothing that relates to their offer and naming their content titles in a way that no one would ever find it. So those things really matter. Where it falls down is their ideal clients can't immediately see themselves in the offer description. So they're sort of like, the benefit of buying isn't obvious. And the other place where this falls down is you can actually have a lot of people come into your site, but having no one buy. And I had a client like this as well that she came to me because she thought she needed to be discoverable, but she was actually very discoverable. She actually had thousands of people coming to her website per month, but the number of buyers, it just like it was very low. It just, there was something not quite right. And one of the things that I observed is there were just so many free things, free this, free that, free this. And it's like, why buy when you've got all of this free stuff that you can take advantage of? So that's another thing that gets in the way of this strategy if it's not done correctly. So what I suggest is that you take the guesswork out of building your quiet marketing ecosystem, and rather than spending months, if not years, trying to piece this how to do it together, that I can actually support you to build this over the next 10 weeks. So I can do that inside Build Your Quiet Marketing Ecosystem. The link to that will be below. And this is where I show you what content to actually create that's going to be worthwhile, that will bring people to your site, how to structure it so it can be found by humans and AI, and the easy way to do that, because sometimes it can feel overwhelming, the idea of creating longer form content when all the advice is about very short content. But there's a way to do this that is not strenuous. Also, it shows you how to position your offer so that the buying becomes an obvious yes rather than a hard sell. And that's so you can have that better conversion rate, and also how to grow this list of buyers rather than freebie collectors. Now, I'm not the only one doing this. I want to show you a couple of examples of people who are not in my kind of line of work, which is business and marketing, people who you might see yourself more in their work. So Kim is a somatic leadership coach, and she's now having clients find her through ChatGPT suggestions and Google searches. And Jackie, she is now having a flood of new eyes and sales and coaching requests through the ecosystem she's bought. And for Jackie, she has been for years very focused on Facebook, and it's sort of like the case of same old eyes on her business and offerings, but only if she shows up and if she kind of clocks into Facebook, So she's discovering this whole new world of marketing beyond Facebook. All right, so you've got a clear picture now. What I suggest is that you take the guesswork out of building this ecosystem and join me in Build Your Quiet Marketing Ecosystem. And I would also love to hear, what is one thing from this lesson that has made you see or think about marketing differently? I'd love you to share that in the discussion. Bye for now.